Hello everyone, welcome to Zagreb, Croatia. This bridge is very special. It's called the Henriks Bridge. It connects the old part of the city Zagreb with the new part. As you can see, it's really traffical here. Many cars pass by the bridge every day. The bridge is special by its form. If you look closely, you can see a curve. That curve is called parabola. We will talk about parabola in this video lesson as a graph of a quadratic function. Hello everyone, I would like for you to listen to this lesson about a quadratic function. In this lesson, I will have 3 questions for you that I need for you to answer in your notebooks so we can talk about it at class. So, today we are going to talk about quadratic function. For starters, let's repeat what we know about functions. In mathematics, a function was originally the idealization of how a varying quantity depends on another quantity. For example, the position of a planet is a function of time. A function is a process or a relation that associates each element x of a set D, the domain of the function, to a single element y or another set k that we call the codomain of the function. If the function is called f, this relation is denoted by y equals f of x. The element x is the argument or input of the function and y is the value of the function, the output, or the image of x by f. For example, each car has its unique registration plate. Each country has its capital city. The first question that I have for you is, can you think of some other functions like the ones I just mentioned? A function is uniquely represented by its graph, which is the set of all pairs x and f of x. When the domain and the codomain are sets of numbers, for example real numbers, each such pair may be considered as the Cartesian coordinates of a point in the plane. In general, these points form a curve, which is also called the graph of the function. This is a useful representation of the function, which is commonly used everywhere. For example, in newspapers. Functions are widely used in science and in most fields of mathematics. Their role is so important that it has been said that they are the central objects of investigations in most fields of mathematics. Okay, so now let us define our quadratic function. The quadratic function f in the form of f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c is called a quadratic function. For example, f of x equals x squared plus 2 times x minus 3. So, how can we calculate the value of the function? For example, this function. Let us try to find the value of our functions for x equals 0 and for x equals 3. Well, for x equals 0 it is really easy. F of 0 equals minus 3. For f of 3 the value is 12. Now let's try to calculate our value of the function for x equals 1. The value is 0. Well, those values that are 0 for specific x's have specific names. They are called roots or zeros. But how can we calculate the roots? And what is the zero of the function? Well, the zero of a function in any replacement for the variable that will produce an answer of 0. Graphically, the real zero of a function is where the graph of the function crosses the x-axis, that is, the real zero of a function in the x of the graph of the function. So let's remember, if we want to find the zeros of our quadratic function, we need to find the roots of quadratic equation. The way to calculate the roots of a quadratic equation is given by this formula. Okay, so now let's try to calculate the roots of this equation that we already met. If we use the formula that was mentioned before, we can easily get the answers. One root is 1 and the other is -3. The other question that I have for you to answer in your notepads is, do you remember what was the form of a linear function? Okay, so now let's see what is the graph of the function. As we said in the beginning, this is the definition of a graph. The graph of a quadratic function is called parabola, and we can see parabola everywhere in nature. The third question that I have for you is, do you remember what was the graph of a linear function, and can you draw it in your notebooks? And in the end, I have an assignment for you. Go and find a parabola near you, at your home, at your main city, or anywhere else. Take a picture and show it to your classmates in Otrokovice.